Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to jump into one of the most useful tenses in English, the present simple. Seriously, we use it all the time to talk about our daily lives, our habits, and just general truths. Ready to get this figured out? Let's do it.
Okay, before we get into any rules, I want you to just think about that for a second. What do you do every single day? Maybe you go to school, you play games, you eat breakfast. Just keep those ideas in your mind, because guess what? They're all perfect examples of the present simple.
So, to really understand this, I want to tell you a quick story about a guy named Alex. Alex is a bus driver, and his life is going to make this whole idea super clear.
All right, so check this out. Right now, at this very moment, it's midnight. And Alex, he's fast asleep. But in general, what's true about him? Well, he drives a bus. So here's the big question. Can we still say he drives a bus even while he's sleeping? Yes, for sure. We absolutely can, because it's his job. It's true in general, even if it's not happening right now.
And that right there is the main point. The present simple isn't really for what's happening right now. It's for things that are true in general. You know, things like habits, facts, and routines. Stuff that's pretty much always true. If you can remember that one thing, you've got the most important part down.
Okay, so now that we get the big idea, let's talk about the formula. How do we actually build these sentences? It's really not that hard once you see the basic pattern.
Here's the basic rule. For I, you, we, and they, you just use the normal verb. No changes at all. Easy. So, I play football. But for he, she, or it, you gotta add an S to the end of the verb. So it's not she play, it's she plays tennis. See that little S? That's the whole trick.
Now, there are just 3 quick spelling rules for adding that S. For most verbs, just add S. Works, gets, simple. If the verb ends in a sound like ch, sh, or o, we add es just because it's easier to say. Watches, goes. And last one, if a verb ends with a consonant plus y, like study, you change the y to an I and add es. So study becomes studies. Pretty easy, right? Awesome! So you know how to make a positive sentence. But what about asking questions or saying no? Well, for that, we need 2 little helper verbs, do and does.
So these helpers, do and does, follow the same pattern. We use do with I, you, we, and they. And you guessed it, we use does with he, she, and it. To ask a question, you just put the helper right at the beginning. Do you play or does he play?
Okay, you need to remember this. This is a super important rule. When you use does in a question, the main verb doesn't need its S anymore. It goes back to normal. So we say, does he play? Not does he plays. The S basically moved to the helper verb, does, so you don't need it twice.
And this brings us to a really common mistake. Lots of people say, what means this word? But now you know better. A word is an it, so we need the helper does. The correct way is always, what does this word mean? Remember, the verb mean has no S.
Making negative sentences is almost the same. We use don't for I, you, we, and they, and we use doesn't for he, she, and it. And that same rule applies. After doesn't, the main verb has no S, so it's he doesn't like coffee. And sometimes you'll even hear a question like, what do you do? The first do is the helper, and the second do is the main verb asking about your job. Okay, we know how to do it, but now let's just quickly review when to do it. Let's look at the main situations where the present simple is your best friend.
It really just comes down to these 3 main things. First, for your habits and routines, the stuff you do regularly. Second, for facts, things that are always true, like the Earth going around the sun. And third, for schedules and timetables, like when a bus leaves or a cafe opens. Habits, facts, and schedules. That's it.
And here's a great tip. Look for these words. Whenever you want to say how often something happens, with words like always, sometimes, or every day, you're almost definitely going to use the present simple. These words are like a big flashing sign that says, use the present simple here.
We're almost there. I've got one last cool thing to show you, and then it's time for a quick quiz to test what you've learned. Get ready.
Okay, these verbs are pretty special. They're like action words. When you say the word, you are doing the action in that moment. Like, if you say, I promise, you are actually making a promise right then. So, if you break a friend's pen, you'd say, I apologize. Or if your friend wants to cheat on a test, you say, I refuse. With these kinds of verbs, we just use the present simple.
All right, here we go. Quiz time. First question. Tanya, blank, speak German very well. What's the correct form of the verb speak in this sentence? I'll give you 5 seconds.
And the answer is speaks, right? Because Tanya is a she, so we have to add that S. If you got that one right, fantastic.
Okay, next one. I want you to fix this sentence. She don't like pizza. Something is definitely wrong there. What's the mistake? You've got 5 seconds.
That's it. The mistake is don't. For she, we have to use doesn't. The correct sentence is she doesn't like pizza. You guys are doing great.
So, let's wrap it all up. Here are the biggest things to remember. Use the present simple for habits, facts, and routines. Don't forget to add that S for he, she, and it. For questions, use do or does, and for negatives, use don't or doesn't. And remember, after does or doesn't, the main verb is plain. And finally, look out for those clue words like always and usually.
You did an absolutely fantastic job today. And I'm not kidding. This is probably the most common and important verb tense in all of English. And now you know how it works. The only thing left to do is keep practicing.
So, to finish up, I have a little challenge for you. Think about your life. Can you tell me 3 things you do every day using the present simple? Give it a try. You've totally got this. Thanks for watching and keep up the amazing work.